Welcome, Keith Eichley here, founder of NextGen REI, and I want to show you how to find thousands of properties that you can acquire with little or no money down within a 2-hour drive of any major market. And if you're not in a major market, you can still find probably hundreds of these types of properties right in your local backyard. So I'm going to take you through that. Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, so if I find the property, you'll get that part, but you might be saying, well, how do I actually acquire the property without using the money down? If you haven't already watched my training on that, I'm going to share with you at the end how you can actually, all these properties I'm sharing with you, acquire them again with, I mean, literally zero money down or just a few hundred or a couple $1,000s, which is incredible if you think about how most people are investing in real estate, putting tens and tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes into their real estate. So let's jump into it. So the first thing I need to share with you is an understanding of a seller's mindset. So the way we find these properties is it's not about distressed properties. That's what a lot of times people are looking for. They're out looking for grass that's 6 feet high or whatever else. No, we're not looking for distressed properties. We're looking for distressed sellers. Sometimes those properties aren't even in foreclosure yet or anything like that. So this is a whole different pool of properties than most investors are going after. Now, with these distressed sellers, it's important to understand the mindset issue. If there's one thing you walk away out of this video, I want you to understand this. It's called the seller mindset shift. You see, here's what happens. When a seller puts their home on the market, they're typically in a very good state of mind. Now, there's obviously cases where people put it up after they've already fallen behind on payments or whatever it might be, but in most of the time, they're in a good state of mind. They feel confident their home is going to sell, and oftentimes this is because a real estate agent has come in and promised them the world because they want to get them to sign the listing agreement. And what happens in reality is they start with that listing agreement, they go on the market, and then somewhere along the path, things aren't working right. The home's just not selling. And now the seller starts to get concerned. And so you can see that here in the middle picture. You see, they start thinking, wow, what's happening? Why isn't this working? And then the process continues to the point where they finally hit a place where they're completely given up. They realize this isn't working for me. I'm in a bad situation. Maybe I've relocated. The house is vacant now, or I've lost my job at this point. I don't have any more savings left. I'm about to go to foreclosure. They are fed up and done. These folks that have reached this bottom slide, no matter what their situation looks like, as they've reached anywhere from the middle to the bottom part of this slide, they are going to be open and willing to work with you with creative finance strategies. Again, these are the very strategies at the end I'm going to share with you. This is so powerful to recognize. It's about the seller's mindset and where they're at the place. So let's bring that back. What that means is we're looking for properties that have been on the market for a period of time because we know once sellers hit a certain point in the selling process, they start dropping their price, they start getting concerned, and they're open-minded about more alternatives to get out of their current situation. So what we look for are what's called stale listings. Now, a stale listing is a property that hasn't sold after a certain period of time, which is why we call it stale. It hasn't sold. And on average, I would say that's about 60 days. You could think of stale listings starting at 30 days, especially in a hot market. People start getting concerned, why hasn't my home sold? Certainly 90 days in any market is going to be considered stale because they've been trying this for 3 months now and their house hasn't sold. So we look for stale listings. This is an indicator that the seller is likely in a mindset of being somewhere down what we call that slide, right? The mindset shift or the slide, right, down to the bottom. And your job and our job as investors is just simply to be in front of them when, ideally before they even hit the slide, but certainly at the point when they're looking for those options. And that's how they're willing to work with you. So again, we'll talk about at the very end, what do you do when you find these types of sellers to get them to want to work with you? What does that structure look like? But for right now, I want to show you, even more importantly, why there's thousands of these in every major market. I'm going to show you how you can find them in a matter of minutes. I mean, I'm actually going to do a live example for you right here. So let me go and do that. So you can use a free tool out there, you've probably heard of it, called Zillow, to find these sellers. This is one way. There's many other ways, and we're not going to go through all that now. If you want to learn really how to find more properties and build systems around that, check out behind the scenes of NextGen Real Estate Investing. We got a free link down below. You can plug into a bunch of training on investing with no money down, little money down, these types of strategies. You can watch them on our YouTube channel, but we've consolidated this particular piece all in the one package for you. So feel free to pick that up for free. Again, now I'm going to share something with you. I've been tracking this information for years, and what I'm going to share with you right now is not just because it's a pandemic. This is historical data that you'll find time after time in all the major markets. You'll see consistency. About 35% of the properties on the market today, on the MLS, are stale listings. You could do the analysis yourself, but just plug in. I do it all the time and share it with my network. It is so easy to find, so easy to get. You can get it right off of Zillow. I often use the MLS in the areas that I have access to, but you can get it just as quickly or almost as quickly as easily off of Zillow. So let me show you how you find these stale listings. So let's say I'm looking in Las Vegas. I'm going to pick a particular price range. I'm going to narrow it down because there's going to be so many of these properties that come up, guys. It's going to blow your mind. And I'm going to show you also how we take it to another level to find those that are even more enticed to want to work with you with creative financing strategies. So I'm going to do $200,000 to $300,000 homes in the Las Vegas market. Let's see how many that returned. That was 1,200 results. I'm going to make it even smaller for the moment just because I want to get, I think there's a limit on the number of properties they'll let you see at one time. Oops. I meant to make that 260. All right, so watch this, guys. So I get a search so I could get a small number of results. Say, look at this, 620. And then you see right now it's sorted by newest. That's what I want. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scroll to the bottom here. I'm going to make my screen a little bit wider for you, so hopefully I can get this to give me 2 per page. There we go. Now I got 2 per, so I can get to the bottom faster. At the very bottom, I'm going to jump to the last page. And now I can start working backwards. Look at this property right here. So 80 days. They've already been on the market for 80 days. Here's 81 days, 82 days. There might be more than 16 pages. No, there's 16. So in this particular price range, we're still going over 60 days. We've got 87 days on Zillow, 86 days on Zillow. And they're doing price cuts, guys. If they're doing price cuts, that means they're stressed. They've been on, look at this one. I'm going to click on this one right here. They just did a $5,000 price cut. And the home, if you look at the photos on Zillow, you can see it's even vacant, guys. It's vacant. There's no furniture in there. Let me show you how many days it's been on the market. Right on Zillow, I can see how many days on market. 83 days. So check this out, guys. It's vacant. You can tell by the photos it's vacant. They're sitting here with a property that they don't want to keep making payments on. It's been on the market for 83 days. They're dropping their price. They're looking for options, guys. You want to come in with the solutions to their problem. That's, again, what we teach in our behind the scenes of NextGen. You can learn how to do all that for free. Click below. But check this out. Right here, in a matter of, I don't know how long that took because I was messing around and getting my screen set up right. But in less than 2 minutes, I just found, and the very first property I picked, by the way, was a vacant, stale listing where we see a distressed seller, right? And that's what you're looking for, sellers that are distressed in looking for options. Now, I'm going to jump back into this and show you just a handful more, just how quickly I can find these. Okay, so I'm going to close that one out, and let's look at another one. Here's one that did a $10,000 price cut. Even by the front photo, it looks like it's vacant. A $229,000 home, and here it is, guys. Again, 83 days on the market. Looks like a nice home. It's not selling. This is opportunity, folks. This is opportunity. So that's the first 2 alone that I did. Now, when you get into properties that are longer on the market, just because the photos have furniture in there does not mean that they're not vacant. They may have moved out already, but they took the photos way back when they still lived in it. But you should not be showing a home empty if you can show it with furniture. So it's unlikely that a property is showing vacant via the photos, but is really being lived in. But it's possible, right? So here you go. Now, let me take this a little bit further for you. Okay, so I'm going to show you right now how many properties are actually for sale in the MLS. Now, I've taken out the foreclosures than pre-foreclosures because it's much harder to do some of the strategies that we do if you're working directly with the bank. Sometimes it's almost impossible. Now, they could be in pre-foreclosure in their home and need help. There's still ways to apply it, but once it gets in the bank's hands, it's much harder to do it. So I've taken those out already. We're looking over 4,000 properties in Las Vegas alone that are on the market. If we go by the number of about 35% will be stale listings, okay? So that means more than a third of those. So in this particular case, we're at 35%. We're looking at about 1,500 properties right now that are going to be stale. So there you go, guys. Any one of you can jump on Zillow right now and find out in any market you're interested in, get to properties just like this, properties that are for sale, that have been on the market for some time. And I like to look at the hat trick, which is these three things all compiled together. Number one, they've been on the market for at least 60 days. Number two, if they've had a price drop. And number three, if it's vacant. If they have all three of those conditions, they should be highly, highly, highly motivated to want to work with you with creative finance structures. So that leads us into the next part. And you're saying, well, Keith, I love this. I get it. I can do that on Zillow. But how do I actually pick up that property with no money down? So the way you do that is through what we call a rent-to-own structure. All right, and sometimes we talk about contract for deeds, but rent-to-own is one of the simplest and easiest ones that you can do. And that will open up your doors to acquire real estate with little or no money down, so you could be picking up multiple properties at a time. Now, following this video right now, I'm going to show you how do you actually use rent-to-own and how do you do a rent-to-own to acquire property with little to no money down. So check that out. If you're really serious about wanting to learn how to invest in real estate with little or no money down, you want to learn systems, you want to learn ways to do it smarter than everyone else, you want to grow your wealth faster, you can certainly check out our other videos on this channel or take advantage right now of the free access to behind the scenes of NextGen Real Estate Investing using the link below. We've consolidated all the important things you need to know into one simple place for you. So check that out down below. And if you like the content you learned here today, click the like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get alerted anytime we publish new content to our channel. Thanks for joining here today.